Welcome back to, I was going to say Rouge Lining. Welcome back to Redlining. Rouge Lining is happening in a couple of weeks' time on the 28th of July. It is the 28th, isn't it?
You've got the date right. It's the 28th.
Thank fuck for that. It's on the 28th of July. Don't forget to come along. It starts at 10 o'clock at El Bruto. $15.95 apparently is the price. If you come on down, buy your tickets online at Ticket Ferry.
Ticketferry.com, and you can get a 95 cents discount if you buy them on Ticket Ferry, so you can get them $15.
There you go. Woo. Speaking of regret, here's someone we didn't get on the show, and we wish we did to Rouge Lining, because she sounds quite remarkable, don't you? Welcome, SHARKRA.
Hi.
Hi.
Thanks for coming
it's really
on.
Nice to be here.
Yeah.
It's good to have you on.
Oh, thank you.
So you're a DJ, producer, a promoter, you are a burlesque dancer, you also do a bunch of other stuff.
Yeah,
you are a very
run
busy
my
girl.
own clothing business. Hello.
Is that yours?
Oh,
sick.
Wow.
Yeah, you can buy this on the Science of Sound website.
Do we allow advertising on here? Yeah, of course we do.
You just advertise your own event.
Oh, yeah, but that's all right. It's our stuff. So talk to us more about that. Let's start there then.
The clothing?
Yeah, that's cool.
So this was actually designed by my last year's Yang stage designer, Rachel Ayer. And she does a few items on the Science of Sound website that she's given me the images I've put together and done the organisation and all the back end of that, and we've got that set up. We've sold a few already, and there's some really cool designs on there. The quality is pretty good.
What's the kind of inspiration behind the clothing?
Obviously there's a lot of sort of psychedelic elements. There's sort of that feminine energy there, specifically with Rachel's artwork. I mean, it's just different. There's something that's really captivating about it that just kind of like, for the last couple of years, I've bought my friends like custom-made paintings from her that she's designed. I'm like, I want a painting for one of my best friends.
Yep.
I'm not giving her too much information, and then she's just designed it, and it's been perfectly accurate for them. So she's designed a few things. I've got a couple of other people who have since sort of popped up who want to also get involved with that. So that's sort of like a slowly growing, emerging thing. The company Cyber Tribe was technically my first sort of business venture that I started a few years ago, just running sort of pop-up stalls at events and stuff like that, running sort of clothes, selling clothes that I bought from wholesalers in Thailand and Indonesia and things like that. And now finally starting to do my own. It's got the logo on the tag.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, that is cool.
That's cool.
So that's slowly developing, but obviously I'm not able to put as much energy into that as I would if I wasn't doing all these other things. I think most of my energy is going into Science of Sound, because for me that's the main sort of passion and drive, along with DJing, which kind of was an unintentional ball that I started rolling. And then the performing arts is more of just like a hobby, with just a creative outlet where I can just be like, wow.
There's a lot to unpack there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys.
No, that's okay. That's okay. I'm just trying to work out where we start.
Let's start with the performing arts stuff, as a matter of fact, because I know more about that than music. So performing arts wise, you do a little bit of burlesque, you do a little bit of everything. Pretty much someone comes up to you and says, can you dance? And you'll go, fuck yeah, I'll do that.
Yeah.
Give it a go.
Well, I started off, doing a bit of pole dancing back in the day.
Yep. That
got my confidence up, made me kind of really sort of feel myself and feel my, inner feminine energy, and empowerment. And, and then I kind of found more sort of artful sort of style in burlesque and in kind of, it's hard to put it in a category because it's very weird but sensual yet powerful, and I like my performances to have some sort of meaning or story or interpretation behind it. And my latest one that I did at Brazen Festival, actually, is another festival at TRI, amazing festival, was probably the one that I put the most energy into that I've ever done, and practice. And it was kind of more a representation of, like in terms of stigma and judgment, and being someone who's like in the like limelight or, on this pedestal that people put me on because I'm a DJ or I'm an event organizer or whatever. And, being like, all these people judge me. I have this sort of, people have this expectation of me, and it's just like, it's, it creates this tear in me, and like what I should be and what I need to uphold, and who am I? Do I love myself? Do I feel like I need to be someone? And like ripping that all down to like the raw essence of who I am, and then being like, okay, who am I? Do I love myself? I want to love myself for who I am, not what I need to be or what people want me to be. And yeah, just creating this performance that I finish with pouring a jug of milk over myself. And the best part of that was at the end of it, having this one girl come up on stage, put her finger on the coffee table that I did the performance on and lick it and be like, wait, yeah, no, that's milk. I'm like, you just tasted that? Like, you have no idea what that was.
What did she expect it to be?
Apparently she was right. She thought it was milk.
Okay, cool. Well, look, the first thing that comes across is like how extremely passionate you are about that. So how long does it take to curate something like that?
That one took about 3 weeks of like at least 2 to 4 hours a day.
Yeah. Oh wow. So it's quite a commitment then.
Yeah, like listening on repeat to the mash of songs. So there's 2 songs in there. Yep. The mash of songs on repeat, like almost predominantly most of the day, for about 2 to 3 weeks. Wow. And then like kind of, so I never, just like with my sets, DJ sets, I never pre-plan everything. I'll like kind of have a rough idea of what I want to do and where I want to go with it, but I'll never really like plan everything down to like each bit. Otherwise it just feels too mechanical.
So with your dancing, there's a bit of spontaneity in it? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
With pretty much all my work is there's a little bit of kind of just free flow, a bit of just naturalness to it.
But which is amazing, because I think if anyone's going to go out there and perform in front of people, I mean, are you on your own doing this in front of a load of people? You'd want to get it nailed down, know what you're doing. But if you've got confidence in yourself to go out there and sort of, be spontaneous, obviously you got your soundtrack down, right? That's not, well, I think that's pretty impressive, I have to say.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
What was your first exposure to festivals then? Where'd you pop your cherry?
My first ever festival was Dimension Festival, and that was, my goodness, 6-7 years ago now.
So is this as a patron or actually sort
just
of
a patron? Yeah.
Yep.
And I ended up being in all of their videos and photos, because I was there, and I would change my costume every 5 minutes, and I would have my silk fans or my ribbons, and I was just I just really wanted to experience to the full extent that I could, because it was 19. Yeah.
Yep. So did you have any idea of what to expect when you went to the festival?
I had no idea.
Was it kind of like one of these kind of amen moments where you get down there and you're like, holy shit, what is this?
Well, it's like predominantly a full-on psytrance festival, so it was like very much thrown in the deep end, but like in a good way. It was a great experience. It was beautiful. I love psytrance. It was my sort of first introduction into this world that we all partake in. And it has a special place in my heart, of course, and I love it. It was definitely a hell of an experience, that's for sure.
Okay, for two people who don't really listen to psytrance, sell us why psytrance, why you're so passionate about psytrance. What is it about psytrance that you love so much?
So
there's no judgment here. I'll just
it's okay. So I'm kind of the type of psytrance that I predominantly like. I'm a bit of a black sheep in the New Zealand psytrance community. Not fully, but like the kind of psytrance I really like is considered, I like melodic full on or future progressive psytrance, which is basically like bouncy, it's got some nostalgic songs that people like recognize and like associate with, and it's got some really like chunky grooves. It's not just like dugga dugga dugga. It's just like bop ba da bop bop. It's like it's got some movement and some energy and some melody in it. Whereas like the psytrance scene in New Zealand, not all of it. It's evolving and it's changing. Yeah. But a lot of it's just very much like we like our full on.
Yeah.
We like our 4/4.
It just sounds like it's. A safe place is almost sounds like a negative way of putting it, but it's a place that's familiar and comfortable and reminiscent when you listen to it, and it just takes you back to a place and you can just lose yourself.
Yeah, for sure, definitely. Yeah.
So do you enjoy making people feel emotions within your music? I know it's an obvious question, but
well, most definitely. Like I said, I kind of fell into DJing. I wanted to do it because I wanted to try it because it seemed fun, and I like music that I heard from other people, but I didn't quite. There were a few things that I'm like, I would do it kind of differently. So I'm like, let's just try it the way I like it, and just the response that I had from the crowd and the people was just really. I did not expect it, and like I feel like the response that I have, like of all the different, because I'm quite multi-genred, the response that I have that has seemsly the most sort of spiritual or emotional impact is definitely psytrance. The type of psytrance that I played, like I've had people come up to me crying, and like it's just like very intense kind of adoration or just like awe or something, and like for me it's just the most humbling experience. Like being behind the decks, I'm not just like, oh, I need to think about how I'm looking. I'm just like in it, I'm in the music, and I'm just like loving it, and I'm feeling it. And so it's just weird to like come off behind the decks and have that reaction. It's just like, whoa, it's almost just like the slap back into reality, so yeah, it's all the genres I play are all very different to me and have very different but similar kind of effects.
What other genres do you play?
So the main kind of ones I find myself playing are like psytrance and bass house, and then like techno, like
So with the techno, do you find that that's where you sort of unleash the full-on side of you?
Yeah, well, I mean, I do also play. So my psytrance goes. I feel like I enjoy, and when it comes to the most like intense side that I enjoy, it's definitely techno. Like I enjoy playing much more like harder techno than I do like harder psytrance. Like I like full on, but it's more melodic full on. Whereas like techno, I like techno that's just like you want to be in like a warehouse, like dancing and sweating and like
When you're playing a set, do you find it hard to stop? Like if your hour's up, do you find it difficult to stop? Do you just keep on going?
It really
do you want
depends. It really depends. Like I feel like it depends on the energy of the crowd and on the overall essence of the party that's been created by the DJs, the organisers, everyone. And it depends like how I'm flowing and how I'm feeling as well. Like it's definitely case to case. I feel like a lot of the time, definitely I'm just like, oh damn, I've got like 10 more minutes. But I'm like very OCD in sense of like I have to finish when it's my time. I'm not going to push into this other person's time or whatever. So yeah, sometimes it happens. Sometimes I'm just like, I'm ready to finish the set, But I mean, again, it all depends, like I said, case to case.
So if you're getting ready for a gig, what do you do to prepare? What's your thing?
I always like to play as sober as possible. I don't like to be, especially if it's like I'm being paid. So technically, it's a professional set. So I do not like to be intoxicated. I might have a drink or two while I'm playing, but I will not be intoxicated or under the influence of any drugs or substances. I will take about 10 minutes to sort of go and sort of not kind of meditate, but like thank the universe and kind of channel that energy of like, okay, let's do this thing. Like, what are we doing here? Like, what are we giving to the people? What is this exchange that we're going to do? And kind of taking a moment to like conjure that, or like, I don't know how to word it. It's a difficult thing to put into words.
It's funny you should say that, because I think we spoke to Mel a couple of weeks ago, and she sort of said that she likes to take some time just before her set to compose herself and to think about what's going on. And I think that's kind of a natural thing, when you're sort of getting up there and performing in front of however many people it is, because it's quite it takes a lot of emotional energy to go up there and do that. Do you still get nervous?
Yes. Definitely, especially when I'm like opening for a big international, or if I'm playing for for example, the year before last, I was playing like the New Year's set, and it was just I was just like, oh my god, and the last Warehouse Party, I opened for Aardvark. It was like a massive psytrance DJ, and you know, that there's just sometimes when it's just like I don't know, and then even sometimes smaller events, if it's like a crowd that I don't recognize, that is sometimes like, you know, because basically when I play, I don't prepare my sets too much. I might plan an opening track or two, but like I'll read the crowd and I'll be like, okay, you guys really like your, you know, triplets, or you like more bouncy stuff, or you like more, you know, harder stuff, whatever. And, you know, I'll go from there. My set will basically flow from there.
Yep.
But if it's like a crowd that I'm like, I don't feel like I've vibed with a lot of you before, so I'm like, oh no. Like when I played overseas, when I went to South America at the end of last year, I was just like, holy shit, there's like hundreds of people here I have never met, and I don't know what the scene is like here. Yeah. This is my first time here. Yeah. What the hell's going on?
So talk to us about that, going over abroad. How did that come about, playing over in South America? Where did you play?
One of my very good friends, Mutana, made the connections. He connected me with a festival in Chile, and in Santiago, or just outside of Santiago, called Unity Festival, and helped me get booked with that, and then a couple of club gigs in Argentina, in Buenos Aires, around the same time. So we kind of did like this little tour thing together. It was really cool. He's a very good friend of mine for like the last 7 years-ish. And yeah, it was amazing experience, and just such a different world over there. So different. And
so what were you playing? Was it psytrance you were playing?
Yeah, it was.
So these were psytrance festivals and gigs?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. So did you find there was a different vibe when you went over there? So sort of like the crowd, so basically when you went on stage and you were sort of doing your thing, you know, you look out there and you go, is this not kind of what I'm used to? The vibe's a little bit different. You know, how does that affect my set, you know?
Most definitely. I mean, like, for example, the most recent on party that I played, I could very much feel there was like a split in the crowd. Half of them really wanted like that funky, groovy stuff, and then the other half were like, give us the hard stuff.
Yeah.
And
were they the ones with the wide eyes?
I found it very challenging, and I found that set quite challenging. I didn't like it. A lot of people, I came out and I was just like, my friend came up to me and he's like, that was a nice set. I was like, I hated it. And then people came up, they're like, can we take a photo? That was amazing, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like...
So are you quite self-critical?
Very much so.
Yeah.
I feel like, is it not known that, you know, you are your worst critic?
Yeah.
In most cases.
Are you one of these people that goes on stage, and if you make, like, if something's not working for you or you make a little mistake, are you a sort of person to sort of show that, or, you know?
Oh no.
It winds you up, but you try and hold it together.
Oh, very much so. I used to be really bad. I used to be like, but like now, I'll fuck up, and sometimes, if you know, a lot of the times there's fuck ups that, you know, DJs will notice.
Yeah.
But most of the crowd won't notice because they're like little things.
Yeah.
But if they're things that are that bad that the crowd notice, you know, I'll just kind of be like, oh, well.
meant to do that.
Yeah, like, got you.
Yeah.
But then, most of the time we'll just be like, oh, okay, cool.
What makes you more nervous, performance anxiety or technical anxiety? Do you get worried that the tech's going to break, or you've got songs in the wrong order or anything along those lines?
I mean, I don't really prepare my songs, so that's all kind of random-ish anyway. I do have this weird fear every time I open my headphone case, because I have all my USBs in my headphone case, that the USB that I'm playing off is not going to be there, and I pull it out and I'm just like, where is it? Okay, it's there.
Yeah. Oh, shit. That would freak me out.
Yeah.
Technical stuff bugs me.
Yeah.
That's why I'm always looking at the cameras.
Yeah.
Like this and this.
Are you working?
Shit, if you go onto a gig and you pull out the wrong USB and it's just full of 90s music.
Sweet. Done. And tonight, in the Blowfish for the third time today.
Well, it's that kind of party then. Let's go. Yeah. Wow, yeah, that's cool.
So what other, psytrance, what other genres are your main go-tos?
Yeah, so I really like of bass kind of music. So I play bass house. I love my bass house.
Define bass house for those uneducated.
Sexy kind of booty bass, kind of like funk. It's kind of like house music, almost like tech house music, but it's just got way chunky bass lines.
Okay.
Like it's got bass that you can really feel it, you know?
Okay.
Artists like Matroda is a really good one. Kind of mainstream, but also got some good stuff like Mala. I'm really bad with artist names.
It's always the same. It's funny, you're not the first person to go, when we go, so who's your influences? That one. It's honestly, I do that as well. It's like, don't worry.
But yeah, and I play like recently at the bass music gig that I played at. I played from like kind of dubstep into bass house. Quite often when I play my sets, I like to kind of fold from one genre into another. Like I like to play from like progressive psytrance, like future progressive into melodic full on, or I like to play from like dubstep into bass house, or I like to play, tech house or booty bass into techno, or I like to transition.
Mix
I like it to be like a journey, like a real noticeable.
Here's a question for someone who plays all the multi-genres. Do you kind of like, so when you're playing, you have a chance to take in what the crowd is doing, obviously. Mm-hmm. Do you sort of notice the different styles of dancing that these people do for the different styles of genres you kind of play? Yeah. So you go, obviously you're in a psytrance and they've got a certain way of dancing, and then like transitioning into something else where they sort of dance a little bit different, and also the kind of people that go to those events? Yeah,
no, for sure. There's a lot of similarities, but also a lot of very differences. And it also, again, varies party to party. Like you can find that you go to one like psytrance party and the crowd is very similar to like a techno or house party that you go to. But generally there is a definite type of essence or vibe at different types of parties. It also depends on like the brand as well that's hosting those parties. Sure. They build their own brand and their own type of vibe at their parties and stuff like that. So definitely that has an impact as well, I notice.
That's interesting, yeah.
As a performer, what would you like to bring to your sets besides music? So we noticed that, something that I notice anyway, is that in the New Zealand music scene, it's very much you go to a gig and it's just congratulations, here's 4 DJs, they're going to rock it out. But no one really themes things that well, unlike us.
Rouge lining.
We're changing it. What would you like to do? And let's say looking ahead, you got a festival, you've got a little bit of creative input into something. How would you like to influence the way music is actually enjoyed here in a live sense?
I want to make it more than just about the music. Yep. Like if we're talking about the production side that I do, I want to make it more of an immersive experience, like a full sensorial kind of spectacle.
Yep.
So I want it to be about the visuals, the lighting, the artwork, the performing arts. I want it to be an overall experience. I don't want it to just be you're coming and listening to music, you're dancing. And I want it to be sort of one of the main reasons I started Spectrum, because it was just coming out of COVID, was for, I know a lot of people who work in the industry, and I wanted it to be something that, I knew all these people and all these because I'm involved in so many different scenes. That I really wanted them to connect together, and I really wanted them to meet together and to get to know each other, because it's such awesome people. But because they were always going to, bass parties or psytrance parties or techno parties, they didn't really cross paths. And I wanted it to be about networking with, like-minded people. And that was definitely a driving force.
So what is Spectrum? Let's talk Spectrum now then. So what is Spectrum?
So Spectrum, the name Spectrum came from a spectrum of music and a spectrum of offerings. So not just music, but arts and visuals and performing and everything like that. And also in terms of genre, because I want to try and portray a lot of genres that a lot of scenes or people who listen to one genre haven't listened to yet. So every year I have people come to me like, I never heard this style of music before. Like, this is great. It's just like, that's great. I want to bring more of that, and also give new or emerging talent or people I've never even heard of before the opportunity to come and show their music. If I'm, listening to their set on Mixcloud or SoundCloud or whatever, and I'm like, this is pretty decent, I want to give other people an opportunity to come and play. I don't want to just book the same people or the same artists, whatever, I want to, have it as also a platform for people to come and display their talents and what they have to offer.
So Spectrum is a festival first and foremost, or is it more a brand with a festival element?
No. So Spectrum is definitely it's more of a boutique festival. So we've got capacity of 500 this year, including crew, and that's at the TRI site, also known as the Shipwreck site.
Awesome site.
Beautiful, so beautiful. And we've obviously being a move from Hecatire and Thames, it's going to be a lot more work, but also, I feel like it's a move in the right direction for the brand itself. Spectrum obviously is its own brand aside from, being part of Science of Sound. I feel like in terms of, obviously it's a risk, but a lot of risks that are worth taking are not ever easy decisions. A lot of things that are potentially worthwhile, beneficial, or big risks.
Oh, sure, yeah. So with Spectrum, what can people who go to Spectrum, what can they expect? They can obviously expect music and DJs, but what else can they expect to find there?
So, like I said, like a multi-sensorial experience.
So if you've got kind of like a different areas where they maybe do like performing arts, and you've got like an art... an area where people can display like art that you've got in there, that sort of thing. So
we've got a couple of like live artists who are doing like live paintings. So at the start, it's just this blank canvas, and throughout the festival, they'll create this painting or this artwork. We've got other art installations. Bruce Sales, the last few years, he does this awesome thing. It's like organic, made out of like moss and twigs and stuff. That's totally in theme with the Spectrum, because every year we have a theme. This year is Ouroboros, which is kind of like life is, time is not linear, it's a cycle, and there's a lot of different meanings that come out of that. I won't go too far into it. If you want to look into it, there's a description on the Spectrum event on Facebook or on Instagram. But basically, there's that, and then there's workshops. So we've got workshops that are like participatory, which is like yoga, and there's also breathworks, but there's also like educational things around microbiome of your gut. A lot of the food we're eating today we don't realize is really high in acid, and a lot of people are getting health issues not realizing it's all the processed food that we're eating. Permaculture, so in terms of the food that we can grow ourselves, that we can have everything we buy that is now so much more in the supermarket for next to nothing, and we can have it self-sustainable, so it just turns itself over. We're not having to replant every season or whatever, and a few different things like that. And then we've got a cabaret, which I've actually put at the end of the festival to close the festival.
Oh, cool.
So the music stops, and then we're like, hey guys, come over here and watch some cool things for a little while to kind of draw the festival to an end and look at some beautiful, amazing talent, and some awesome people that we've got on the lineup for the cabaret this year. I'm really excited. And then just the music, again, total amazing artists. I've got I'm not going to say yet because I'm going to wait until the launch, but there's some really awesome names on there that I'm really excited about, and some new names as well that I'm really excited to see. And then just the site itself, like the beach and the sand and all the like little ships that are just there for like little tiny little chill spaces.
Do you use the whole area, or you just use a couple of stages?
So we're just using what's known as the Hidden Reef and the Shipwreck stage as our yin and yang stages, and then we'll set up a couple of the other little ships as sort of chill spaces.
And camping on site still?
Yeah. So camping is included in the general ticket price. We're not charging extra for vehicle passes or like camping passes or whatever. It's all included. And we've also got let me think. Food. Yeah, we've got food vendors. That's right. Yeah, food and vendors. So we've got an array of different options for people. We've got, vegan, vegetarian, plant-based stuff. We've got, meat. We've got coffee. We've got ice cream. And we've got different types of clothing and like natural products and things like that for people. Yep. And yeah, right now my brain, there's a few other things.
It sounds amazing. That's first and foremost, but it also sounds like a kind of a bit of a head fuck, if you don't mind my French, in the fact that there looks like there's an awful lot that goes into that. So how much work goes into organising all that?
A lot.
And when do you start planning?
I started planning in mid-March. Late February, mid-March.
Wow.
And, there's a lot of things that go on behind the scenes that people don't know about, like toilets and public liability and, all those things that people never see or hear of. It's a lot, especially when it's at a new site as well. It's not just, you can't just cut and paste from like the year before. It's like a whole new thing. And obviously, there's a lot of statistics that say, once a festival reaches 3 to 4 years, the increase in ticket sales and then the increase in costs are dramatically different. So, the profit margin, most festivals end up in a substantial amount of debt around the 3rd to 4th year. So that's why a lot of events or festivals don't make it past that year, and being 4th year and also post-COVID, it's like
Well, I want to talk about that a little bit later. Just going with the festival. So when is it?
End of September. So the September the 29th to the 1st of October.
So with those dates, obviously being kind of just sort of start of spring, does the weather concern you at all, or what was the reasoning between those dates?
Well, the date for the last 2 years was the middle of winter on Queen's birthday weekend.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah. So, and we actually had surprisingly decent weather. It spat a little bit, but it was never torrential downpours. Yeah. However, things did get a bit wet, and then trying to get everything dry and then returning everything was just like a very long process. And the original Spectrum was actually on my birthday, which is around the end of September. Yeah. But I was like, I want to party, fuck this. But at the end of the day, I spoke to my business advisor, and it just kind of worked out better that I did move it back to that date. And I was like, look, sacrifices are made. It's all right.
Fair enough.
But yeah, definitely the last few years, that weekend or around that time, my birthday weekend kind of seems to be like that weekend. It's like, it's sunny from Friday to Sunday.
It's weird because you can get some really hot days around the end of September. My son's birthday's at the end of September. I just remember a couple of real crackers on his birthday. Anyway.
But we always know that summer here isn't guaranteed.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I mean, it's kind of like now I'm at the point where it was kind of like, well, I mean, the beginning of June could be sunny, considering that summer was rainy. Exactly. It's just like,
I mean, to be honest with you, if you're going to do it, it's as good as day as any other. So, just it sounds cool.
Close your eyes, dive in and swim. Yeah. See what happens.
Yeah, I never look at the weather reports. I always prepare for the worst and expect the best. I never look at the weather reports because most of the time they're wrong anyway.
It's a good point.
It's so true that they are wrong most of the time.
Yeah. I'm seeing a little flaw to that plan, but okay.
What, preparing for the worst, but expecting the best?
Yeah. No, I prepare for the worst and expect the best. No, that's what you said, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, you did right. Happiness. I call it happiness insurance. This is going to be so shit. I'm going to watch a really shit film, and it's great, even though it's really average. It's good.
Yeah.
I watched Mission Impossible last night, and there was an incredible nightclub scene. And all these movies have, like Mission Impossible, John Wick, they have these full-on techno fucking...
do you know what?
Is it real?
Yeah, I don't know, but they always have the shittest music playing.
Do they?
I always find like these club scenes are like an amazing, and then the music, the soundtrack that you expect is not what you'd expect to find in that kind of venue.
It's like 80s trance or something.
Yeah, it's just it's really weird.
Like really like
or some weird breakbeat or something.
But no, it's really weird because the music's going loud. You know what it's like, the gig, and they have conversations like this, and I could be talking to you right now in the middle of the dance floor.
Well, actually, a really good, properly tuned sound system, you should be able to have it loud that people are able to zone out in and still be able to have a conversation on the dance floor.
But not these conversations.
I mean, okay.
not when you're like,
but it's movies.
It's
Hollywood.
I know. But that is something. It's so noticeable now, though, for me. Yeah. It's just like that music's really pumping in, and the bass and the surround sounds like, and they just have a conversation like this.
I'll tell you, who wouldn't want to go to that party at John Wick 4?
Oh my God.
That's like, have you seen
any
John
party
Wick
with
4?
John Wick?
Oh my God.
I'll listen to horrible violin music with John Wick there.
But those types of things like that, is that sort of thing realistic though? Like those Hollywood style, but is that real? Is what I'm asking. Is that the sort of thing that actually happens?
I guess if you've got, well, I'm going to ask the party promoter here.
Yeah.
Maybe in Hollywood?
Yeah.
If you had an... Okay.
I feel like New Zealand is so, like, just from my experience of partying in Australia and like Vietnam, Thailand, South America, it's so different.
Okay, yeah. If I said to you had an infinite amount of cash, right? Because obviously all the Hollywood ones have got an infinite amount of cash to have the most amazing party. Yeah. So if you had an infinite amount of cash to put on, let's say a one-night party, what kind of event would you put on?
Oh, what a question.
Now we're talking.
Damn.
So Daryl's already thinking of what he'd do.
I got it.
No, I would probably put on like just the best level production party I could even imaginably conceptualize. Like the main restriction for me in terms of like production and what I can give to people is money, especially in this day and age. So it's just like if I had infinite amount of money, just from stage decor to lighting and sound and visuals and art and artists, oh my gosh, it would be wow.
Here's another question then. Who would your, so is there one artist that if you had the infinite amount of cash that you could book to headline,
why you have to
who
do
would
one?
that be?
Why one? Okay.
All right. Well, okay. Let's go three.
Okay.
How's that? Make life easier. And also, let's cross genres. So you can have one psytrance DJ, one techno DJ, and then one bass house one.
Okay. I would say psytrance. Ooh. Ace Ventura.
Oh yeah.
Ace Ventura, and then bass house. Matroda, and then techno. Ooh, that's a hard one.
You can't have Carl Cox because he's already coming over. Maybe we'll let you think on that one.
Yeah.
But so for if you were putting on a party, would you try and like get, because all these Hollywood parties, they have these amazing locations. Like I think the one in John Wick was kind of almost like a kind of old fortress.
It was an Italian fortress,
thing, wasn't it? Yeah. And or it's like these really massive, glamorous houses, or like big, fucking state of the art nightclubs. Yeah. What would your like ideal venue? Would it be something like kind of where you would? I always think the best party is one where you put a party on somewhere you wouldn't even think about putting a party on.
Yeah.
You know, like an old castle or like on the underground tube in London or you know, something like that. Something unique.
I like the idea of like an abandoned airplane.
Ooh,
you know,
cool.
just like one of those. What are those massive ones called?
Like the cargo ones.
Boeing 757 or something.
Oh, actually, a passenger one.
Yeah, but like all the
strip all the seats.
Totally gutted out.
Yeah.
And just like having it there, sort of just sitting on the runway or sitting wherever, you know. So it's kind of like outdoor but indoor, and then having just this massive rave going on inside it.
That'd be amazing. And the decks could be in the cockpit.
Yeah.
I'll take the Coliseum. I'll spend $1 million on lighting.
Yeah.
I'll spend another $1 million probably on the sound system.
That would be great.
And then, it would just go off. I would have, and like fine food all around the place. And it's a suit. You have to wear a suit and tie.
Yeah,
suit and tie
or masquerade.
It's masquerade. It's like full noise.
So everyone's in a mask.
Yeah, and if you're not dressed up, that's the
black tie, right?
Black tie. Yep.
Yeah,
and that's the price of entry. If you're not wearing that, you can't come in. Otherwise, it's free. Just come on in. Just go absolutely balls to the wall. That's what I would do. I'd arrive on a helicopter. Right in the middle. Oh, it'd be huge. And I'll stand there and I'll get everyone to clear off and I'll stand in the middle and I'll be like, are you not entertained? That's exactly what I would do. Exactly what I would do. That would be sick.
You should be a DJ.
I should.
Yeah.
I should. Nah. My missus ever listening on the decks.
So let's come crashing back down to earth in these post-COVID times. As a promoter over the last year, what has been your assessment of the music scene here and the industry of trying to get events back up and running, people attending? Has it been a struggle?
Heavy question. Yes. I don't know what you like with swearing on here.
No, you can swear.
Fuck yes. Fuck yes. Oh my gosh. It's been mildly soul destroying, but like, if it wasn't for the passion that I had for what I do, I would not be still doing it. It's my passion. It's literally, I'm just sort of riding on my passion at this point because it's just like, not breaking even at an event you've poured your time and energy and soul into. And I'm talking break even, not even paying myself or my business. I'm talking break even, paying everyone else. That is just like, it's hard not to let that little, voice of negativity sort of nip at your heels, being like, you must be doing something wrong. It just must be something about you, or it's just that little voice that kind of creeps in, and it's just like, it's difficult. It's really, really hard, and it's really challenging. And if it wasn't for all of the supporters and all of the talent and the contributors that I have, who are fully supporting and being like, you know what. I'm sacrificing my fee, or I'm, I want to, don't worry about paying me because I know otherwise it's coming out of your pocket, or whatever, or at least, cutting their fee substantially or something, I would not be able to still do this, so it takes, it really takes a team to do something like an event or a festival. It really takes a lot of people and a lot of commitment to not just the party or the festival, but to the cause and to that driving force of what you're trying to achieve and what you're trying to do, and the experience that you're trying to give to people. It really takes passion and drive to be able to be able to make that, and just a lot of my friends who work in the industry and work in production or management or DJing or whatever, we've all suffered substantially from COVID and from the recent and now the economy because of the COVID situation, and it's just like we're all trying to push forward and we're like trying to stay positive and we're trying to empower each other, but it's just like we're all struggling a lot, and it's really hard.
So you have to be mindful of your ticket price, I guess, when you're
For sure, because you have to take into account that people have less money, but you also have people to pay. So you're having to juggle all of these factors into what you're doing, and it's hard trying to figure that out because we're in a situation we've never been in before. We've never, we've had recessions, but we've not gone through COVID where people have gotten more comfortable with staying at home, so people are going out less, so people are less enthusiastic about spending money at events, because they haven't had as much experience in going out and experiencing a festival or a proper produced event, and it's really difficult to try and navigate and figure out because we're all just pulling at straws in the dark. And it's interesting. It's interesting, but it's definitely, it's a lesson, and I'm trying to take it on the chin in terms of like, okay, this won't continue forever, obviously. So hopefully in the future I'll be like, that was difficult, but because of it, I can navigate this easily, and like a lot of my friends, they have the opinion who work in the industry of, we'll all take this in terms of a lesson and try to grow and evolve from it.
Yeah.
In the best way we can, because how else are you supposed to deal with a situation like this?
It feels a little bit like God's having a bit of a laugh at us, really, isn't it? Because it's like we had COVID, and then recession, and then we had the summer that we just had. So we had floods, we had wet weather all the time. It was just like, and not a lot of money going around. So we just wanted to get out and have a good time. But most of us went out there and
there's
made
more.
And there's more. There's always more.
He's got his list, and he's going, check.
That was shit. That was shit. That was shit. That was shit. Oh, it's just all rubbish. But it does feel like things are starting to sort of ball back a little bit again. I think people aren't talking so much about recessions anymore. We've got elections coming up. There seems to be a little bit of hope on the horizon. You've got sports events which are sort of making their way back again, which is quite good. So hopefully 23-24 will be quite an epic season if the weather plays ball.
For sure.
But yeah, I think there's I don't know. It's funny because this conversation 6 months ago, I was like, nah, I can't see any happiness in the future. No, there is eventually, but I couldn't see when it was going to kick in. But at the moment, I'm feeling like, oh no, I think things are going to, there's a bit more, things are happening.
I think everyone's really pushing for that. I think everyone's really not just wanting, but needing that back.
Yeah.
They're really fighting for it. And I think people who are really passionate about it are really pouring their soul and heart into like restabilizing that for people and for all of us,
As long as people aren't fighting themselves, because I still feel like there's a little bit of residual animosity towards everybody. There's a lot of separation still. Yeah. Blame what you want for that, but there's still a lot of separation, and we just need to start bringing it together again. But as I say, it does feel like people are starting to have conversations again and that comes with music and entertainment as well, which is it's a positive thing. I think it's really good. And as I said, I'm looking forward to the next 6 months. I think it's going to be great.
How do you think?
Love that.
How do you think we can do more, or promoters can do more, to get people out and to these events?
Collaboration and support. So even if it's, I don't know why, I've been to so many events, not so many, but I've been to quite a few events overseas, and there's such cohesive communities, and I feel like New Zealand really struggles with this tall poppy syndrome. And I hate to say it, but there's less collaborations, there's less, just helping out and giving you as much information or as assistance as I can, because I want you to do good, because that's how we should work together as a team. But there's not as much of that, and I feel like we're really not just hindering each other, but ourselves as a scene in this country, because we're so separated from the rest of the world that we're really we're hindering the whole scene's growth. And I feel like we should really, I have people calling me up being like, oh, hey, can I have advice about this and the other thing? I'll give them as much as I possibly can. And, my trained experience and from, my education as an event manager and producer. And, I feel like we should be doing more of that. We should be collaborating, and we should be like coexisting better than we are, and worrying less about how it's going to infect our event, and more
stop competing.
It's
like, what are you competing for? Who are you competing
exactly. More worried about
we're all trying to eat from the same fucking kick the same fucking pot around. It's ridiculous. Just work together. You know what I mean? Let's all work on your event, and let's get your event and your event and your event. There's 52 weeks in a year. You can have maybe 3 or 4 big events every week, within reason. Make it work, make it happen, and share the information. And winter, obviously, let's do it indoors. Summer, indoors. And, just work together and make things happen.
There used to be a Facebook group, I'm pretty sure it was created by Mel Haylady, where it was a load of promoters,
New
DJs,
Zealand, Techno house,
and everyone got together and worked dates out.
It still exists, but people don't really use it as much. I actually made kind of copy and pasted that with the psychedelic music community, and for the first little while it was going, but I definitely feel like COVID had a massive impact on that. Like, I feel like that it was still kind of going, and people were still like, oh, okay, that person's doing this thing, because obviously people plan their events before they've announced them, and so it was really useful. And so I was like, we need this in the psychedelic scene, so kind of copied and pasted that, and it was working. They were working for a while, but again, COVID kind of came in, and it just like boom. So I guess, it all takes, it takes every little bit of effort to get that ball rolling again. And I feel like now that it's kind of starting again, I feel like we all as promoters should really be trying to do everything we can to try and not just help ourselves but each other, especially in these times.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But I think it's almost as ridiculous as sometimes, like, obviously what we're doing is trying to promote the industry as much as we can and promote everybody, and we get people kicking back on us trying to promote the industry. It's like, what the fuck are you doing? It's weird. It's bizarre. And I'm not having a whinge.
I love what you guys are doing.
I'm not having a whinge, but just some people they look at us with a certain amount of cynicism. And you know, I get it. Maybe there's some residual hurt that's happened to them in the past, but it's like, you know, people like us are trying to just have fun and just trying to promote what you guys are doing and shed light on it in a different direction. And it's kind of cool, but it's just bizarre here, right? People just
tall poppy syndrome.
Weird.
Yeah, it's weird.
I've not seen it. I mean, I've seen it a little bit, maybe in Australia, but nothing like here. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's to do with like how segregated we are to the rest of the world or something. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, but Aussie's segregated and they're not like that.
Yeah, it's weird. I don't know what it is or where it stems from, but yeah, it's definitely like a prominent issue, and I feel like we need to be more aware of it and make each other more aware of it, so we can just like nip it in the bud and just like move on and evolve from that and try to differentiate ourselves.
It's almost like people just don't want anything if they don't know what this new thing is that obviously is helping, or not necessarily just us or something else. It's almost like, oof, no, there's a bit of a click going on. If anyone new comes in, you're like, oh, no, rather than embracing them and saying, okay, what can you bring to the table? What are you doing, you know?
So people wanting to be triggered by something.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't like what you're doing for some reason.
Fucking social media is the thing. Like, it's so easy to have a bit of a moan on social media and sort of put your own opinion. It's easy to put opinions on social media, right? You wouldn't say it to our face. You wouldn't come in the door and go...
It's fucking amazing how many people have
keyboard warriors.
Or have complained about us online for something remotely stupid or for something I've done, and then I see them in real life at the party and they're just like, hi, how are you?
Yeah.
I'm just like, fuck you, you know, whatever. I just don't, you know, it's so New Zealand is a disingenuous society when it comes to their emotions and the way that they communicate, and social media just exasperates that like you wouldn't believe. Sure. And it's just like, come on, just quit it. Let's all talk to each other normally and have long form conversations and chat about things. And have fun. That's the main thing, you know. But then what comes out of that is creativity. I mean, we're only here for about 80 to 90 years, so you may as well, you know, enjoy it. You're either you've got three choices. You can either feel like a victim for the rest of your life, you can either feel like the oppressor for the rest of your life, or you can just not give a fuck, and that's the best. Yeah, you know. And from there, just take psychedelic drugs and party. It'll be good, and just dance the night away
and rest.
And rest. I'm just having a rant.
Was it eat, sleep, rave, repeat?
Eat, sleep, rave, repeat. Exactly.
Yeah. Look, I mean, I think from our point of view, what we bring to the table is something a little bit different. But I'd like to think that, you know, yes, we don't make money out of this, and yes, it is a passion project, and yes, we do it because we have a passion for the industry, the music industry, and everything here. And there really is nothing else to it, you know? And that is it. You know, there's no hidden agenda here. You know,
but that's the same as like the passion that you have or what you're doing, right?
For sure. And you know, I think I really believe in that saying, you know, real attracts real. You know, I often cross paths and connect with people, even overseas, with people who have similar kind of ethos or mentality or goals or drive, you know, and I really believe in that, and that's, again, like I said, a driving force of where the origins of Spectrum came from, because I wanted to bring all those like-minded people together, because I really feel like if, you know, united, us as a passionate group of individuals can really create a big difference in the society, and hopefully sort of cull this tall poppy syndrome and create a more cohesive, you know, society and scene, because that would be great. I've seen it overseas. It's beautiful.
So is Spectrum just music based, or is it much more? Yeah,
music, arts, creative workshops. You know, it's like I said, it's an immersive experience. Yeah. You know, I don't want it to be just about the music. It's not just you go, you dance, you take drugs or whatever. I want it to be, you know, something. You know, this year we've changed it from R18 to, you know, all ages. So if people want to bring their family, they can. You know, we've got an art therapy workshop that's, you know, all ages. You know, and you know, I want it to be something that's wholesome. You know, it's like if you can partake. If you want to, drink or whatever, do it in a way that you can do it around,
Explore seems to do that quite well.
Exactly, yeah. They do it really, really well.
Yeah,
and there's a lot of events that are able to do that. And I feel like, I've been to a few events overseas that are like that. And just the overall vibe just seems, there's something when it's like a family vibe, it creates this family essence that's just so gorgeous and beautiful that it's just like, that's the kind of thing I want to nurture and flourish.
Have you got kind of like a sort of an area where like, the kids can go and do that? Because I'll be honest with you, if I took my kid to a festival, I wouldn't want to hang out with them.
No.
No, I'm joking, of course. But do you have like a lot of sort of like kids entertainments and kind of stuff?
Not a lot,
for them
not at this stage, because this is the first year that we've kind of opened it up a bit more. We have like a workshop, or hopefully a couple of workshops yet to be defined.
That was one of the things that blew me away about was just how incredible
gorgeous,
the family stuff was for the kids, every
Susie
child.
Cato.
Oh yeah, it was amazing. I think I woke
too young to know Susie Cato.
But I woke up on the Saturday morning feeling a little bit worse for wear, and I was just walking around. And I was just blown away by the amount of the kids with smiley faces that were like just really busy with doing stuff, or like had shows, or were just. And I was because I've not really been to a festival that's like that family orientated before. It's all like you say, it's like music and getting messed up and stuff like that. And I made that joke about my kids, but I'd actually definitely take them to because I think they'd really, really enjoy it.
Oh, for sure. Like if there's any festival that I've been to or worked on that I would highly suggest, people taking their kids would 100% be on, because it's one you can go to that not only is family friendly, but it's a good party.
Yeah. And
having catering for both of those things, it's not an easy thing to do.
No, exactly,
and does it well.
I love the way they headlined. They almost used Susie Cato as a headliner. That was incredible.
Yeah. Well, come on, she's a headliner.
Well, for bit, I don't really know who she is because obviously I'm English and I've only been here like 10 years. But
all right, we'll let that one
slide. I guess she's like an old school children's presenter, right?
Yeah.
Oh, very old school. Yeah, she was just after my generation. Yeah, no, she was.
I grew up with that shit.
Yeah.
So what did she do? Educational programs?
Yeah, it was like teaching basic science about how things rust and it's like you're. But it was educational. It wasn't just like, oh look, a clue.
Was it kind of like a Blue Peter? Did you get Blue Peter over here? The English Blue Peter?
Like Blues Clues?
Blues Clues.
Blues Clues.
Maybe
Blues Clues.
Blues Clues.
There was a thing in the UK
Steve.
called Blue Peter, which sounds very similar, where it's just presenters like
just sketch shows, like Play School.
Yeah.
Exactly, that's kind of what it was. She took over from Play School. Play School was my generation, our generation.
I think I just was a crossover. Yeah, I remember like a little bit of Play School, but it was like when I was still very early. I remember the starting intro thing, and that's about it.
Here's a house, here's a door.
Is that the English one?
Windows 1, 2, 3, 4. It was modelled off the same one. So there was an English one, an Aussie one, a Kiwi one. Yeah, I remember going to Australia and seeing Play School, and I was like, it's not the same. It's bullshit. It was great. But no, Susie Cato was like that. Yeah, and she just kept going strong. She's been there for like solid 30 years.
Yeah, and she's still going really strong.
Yeah, good on
her.
Yeah.
She's a lovely human as well.
Yeah. She's rad. So how much how much input do you have on the gigs and the acts? Do you have input on all of them? Oh no, on
Spectrum.
And Spectrum.
Okay, so for not massively. I mean, I've moved away because I was the artist liaison for for 3-4 years.
So what does that entail, just quickly?
That is basically being the middleman with all the artists. So that's like contracts, visas, booking agreements, riders, all of the things to do with all the
make them comfortable
artists and such. And trying to, Tetris everything and transfers and stuff like that. And, obviously as I, progressed with that role, I had a bit more input. And I think also the directors saw my sort of, I don't know, I feel like one of my strong suits is definitely sort of line up sort of curation in terms of like flow of music and stuff like that. So I definitely have had a little bit more of an input over the years, but kind of, I wouldn't say less so, but this last I pulled away from my artist liaison role and I started running one of the stages, the hill stage.
Oh, yeah.
And that's a massive role because obviously, as a collaboration between myself and Sick Entertainment, Science of Sound and Sick Entertainment, it's just a lot. Obviously, running a stage, you've got all of the production, all of the everything. You're not just, curating the lineup and stuff. Yeah. So we do the whole lineup for that stage between the two of us.
And that's like 3 days worth of artists.
No, so the hill stage runs from the 31st to the 1st. Okay, so it's I think it's 30 hours or 31 hours.
That's still quite a while.
But it's still a bit, and considering you've got to bring in all the manpower, you've got to do all the production, all of the everything, everything that has to do, because you're doing all of that stage. Well, we did last year. Still yet to be decided this year. And then for Spectrum, yes. So I curate the lineups because again, it's a spectrum of music. There's a lot of different genres and different styles of genres involved. You in some areas you're only getting 1 or 2 sets of each style. So it's really, carefully curated in terms of style and flow to make sure that, you're displaying and, giving us a taste of each style with the right amount of flow without it being like drum and bass, now we're playing house. It's got a flow to it to make sure that it's not just jarring for
That's cool. I've spoken on this show before about some places that you do go to don't tend to do that. I also feel that it's something that needs to. You definitely need to have a flow to it.
The only time, so there's been a couple of events that I've run where I've done multi-genre events just over a span of a night, and there's a little hack that I have to break up. If you're going to go from like drum and bass to psytrance, say you put a performer in between. So instead of having a DJ and then another DJ straight after, you've got about 6 to 10 minutes of a performing artist being like, woo!
Cool.
Susie Cater!
I mean, you could, but...
Or is it yourself?
She would go off. She would go off. She would go off. Like, anyone between the age of 30 and 45 would just be a child.
Especially if you've got her singing that song like...
See you later. See you later. It's time to say goodbye. See you later. It's time for us to fly. Oh, fuck, I don't know. Anyway, I didn't watch it. No, not at all. Right. SHARKRA. I was going to say Shaka Khan.
Oh, my God.
I won't do that. So I'm going to wrap it up now. Tell us what you've got coming up over the next wee while. Tell us about... Give us a breakdown of those events again and dates, and of course we'll put them down below.
So up on the, I think it's the 16th of August, we're doing a jazz night at Fitzroy.
Cool.
So we've got
when was that?
Live saxophone. 16th of August.
Oh, I'm there.
Wait, hold on.
Put that on the calendar.
That is awesome.
Something different. That'd be great.
Wednesday.
No, it's not a Wednesday.
Oh,
it's the... Sorry, 19th of August.
Oh, the 19th
of August.
Sorry. And then the 2nd of September, we've got the Spectrum launch party, and that's at Cassette 9. We've got 2 stages. Cool. We've got psychedelic music and bass music and techno.
Yep.
And then we've got Spectrum, which is the 29th of September to the 1st of October, and that's...
Yep. Tickets on sale yet?
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah,
We'll put some links down below.
Yeah, for
under
sure.
our event.
Yeah, Ticket Fairy as well.
And Ticket Fairy as well. You can't have too many tickets. It'd be great. Wicked. This has been really cool. You are a very lovely human being.
Thank you.
And,
likewise.
Thank you. Thanks. He is, isn't he?
He's not.
He's beautiful.
Come on.
No, thank you very much. Thank you for dropping by. And I'm sure we'll see you very soon. And good luck with everything.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys.
Thanks for coming on.
It's been great.
Thank you.